So viewers, I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we will review the settings of a Cudy brand optical router. We will see what options are available and how to maximize its utilization. So let's start. First, as you can see, we are on the control panel of the Cudy router. Here, we can see the PON status, PON WAN, VoIP LAN, mesh, devices, wireless 2.4G, wireless 5G, DHCP server, and system options. If we go into more details of the PON status first, we can see the mode it is connected in. We can see it is connected in GPON mode. The ONU status is 05. And here we can see many more options for the ONU, such as the voltage TX power, RX power, bias current. And as we go down, we can also see the packets. The RX power and TX power are included here. In the Settings tab, you can customize the SN serial number. You can also create a password if you want to keep it password protected. Okay, so let's go back to the system status. It's loading. In the PON WAN section, if we go to that, we can see that it is connected. It shows which gateway IP address and DHCP mode it is connected to. If we go to the settings, we can see the VLAN ID, channel mode, and connection type. You can select which one you want to use. Internet, voice, TR069, or others. These can be customized from here. However, these tasks are usually done by your ISP, so there isn't much for you to do. We are just trying to show you what options are available. Now, if we go to the device section, we can see that the device looks like this. There are 4 LAN ports, and the WAN port is at the bottom, which is optical. These 4 ports are gigabit ports. One of these ports can also be used as a WAN port. You can use it as a WAN port, even if you don't have an optical connection. It can also be used as an EasyMesh. We also have a VoIP option. In the VoIP option, you can see the VoIP settings. With this, you can just connect any phone, and you will get the VoIP service. We have the basic settings and advanced settings here. It has all kinds of VoIP settings. Since I don't fully understand these VoIP details, I cannot elaborate on these for you. Next, we arrive at this page. You can see the LAN option here. The LAN option is similar to other routers. As you can see, you can adjust the LAN settings from here, including changing the LAN IP. You can also change the pool here. Additionally, if you wish, you can select the IP routed subnet, as there is an option for that as well. Okay, we're going back to the status page. Next, you can see the mesh option, which includes device name, mesh status, and network information. Devices for 2.4G and 5G are all present here. The system firmware update option is also available. Now, if we go into general settings, we can see that the PON option is shown right away because this is an XPON router. So you can configure the optical connection here. The settings are all provided. You have channel modes such as DHCP, bridge, and other options. If you're using a VLAN, you can enter the VLAN ID here. You can also perform port mapping to select which port you would like to use. These port mapping options are available here. Next is PON authentication. You can use this option if necessary. This is usually used by ISPs, and even though many routers do not use it, many companies still do. Therefore, it has been included as an advanced feature. Next, we have the wireless settings. By enabling Smart Connect, you can select a single SSID, which will be used for both, and you will not need to configure them separately. There are advanced settings available as well. By accessing these, you can see the different modes and configure each one separately, such as channel width channels and transmit power. If you do not choose Smart Connect, you can configure everything manually. You can select separate SIDs for 2.4G and 5G and adjust the transmit power for each, along with other individual settings. Next is the guest network. If you want to enable a guest network on your router, there's an option to do so, and you can enable it from here. After that, we have the EasyMesh option. You can use this router for the EasyMesh setup. By navigating through the settings, you can add your other routers into the EasyMesh network. Next is the firmware update option. You can automatically check for firmware updates here. If an update is available, you can update it directly, or you can download the firmware to your system and upload it here. If you turn on the auto firmware update option, the router will automatically update as soon as a new firmware becomes available. Finally, there is parental control. This is a common feature in most routers. If you have children in your home, you can configure which websites to allow or block through these settings. I am skipping this, as the video is becoming quite long. Cudy has an extensive array of options in its advanced settings, as you can see. Cudy provides a vast range of feature options, catering to everything from entry-level to top-tier routers. Here, you can configure your LAN settings. As you can see, these are the LAN settings. Next, we have the DHCP server. You can set the start and end range for the DHCP server pool. You can also specify your preferred default gateway, which is an optional field. Usually, the first IP address is set as a default gateway. After that, there's the DNS server. If you want to use a custom DNS server, you can configure it here, along with the lease time. You can define these settings as needed. Okay, next is IPv6. You can set the IPv6 connection type to relay, which will automatically connect based on your ISP. You can also choose dynamic, static, or other options, all of which are available here. If you select relay, it will automatically convert and connect to IPv6, even if you are on an IPv4 connection. Next is the IGMP option. You can select your desired IGMP version from the list if needed and use it. After that is custom DNS. If you want to use a custom DNS, you have options for Cloudflare, Google, and others. You can simply select one to use it. You also have a custom option if you want to input your own specific IPv4 or IPv6 DNS addresses. Next is the DDNS option. There are many DDNS server providers available, and you can easily connect your preferred one. Next is static routing. For those who understand routing and want to set up static routes, an option is provided for that. Then there is port forwarding. As you know, for those hosting various servers on local host, NAS, or other devices, or for gaming, port forwarding is often necessary. You can easily configure it here. The protocol options are also provided for your convenience. This is an advanced routing feature. Next is port triggering. We also have a port triggering option. For those who work with or require port triggering, this router allows you to use that feature as well. Next is the DMZ option. If you want to locate a DMZ server or assign a DMZ IP address, you can click on this option to configure it. Then there is online detection. If you enable the online detection option, you can check the status of your connection at specific intervals using different protocols like ICMP, DNS, or TCP. Next is TTL, and you have various options here, such as extending the TTL value, spoofing LAN TTL, or using a custom TTL value. Finally, there is Wake on LAN. You can select which IP device you want to wake up. Just configure the Wake on LAN option for your PC or system, and you can easily wake it up through this feature. It is now enabled. Universal Plug and Play, UPnP. You can see one connection is enabled here. If you want to do it for yours, you can automatically keep this on and it will be updated. Next is USB sharing. If your router has a USB sharing option, you can just enable it and you will get the USB sharing option. Also, you can enable a password for USB sharing so that no one can share your files without a password. Okay, next, you can see VoIP basic settings. If you want to enable VoIP and you have the option in your router, you can come to these basic settings and configure your VoIP settings. VoIP advanced settings. There's an option for advanced VoIP settings. As I mentioned, I have very little knowledge about VoIP, so I don't understand these settings at all. For those who understand, they can work with the VoIP settings on this router. Next is WAN mode. You can set it to GPON mode, EPON mode, or even Ethernet mode. In Ethernet mode, you can use the WAN port. For GPON and EPON, you can manually select them. Okay, you can see captive portal here. You can turn on the captive portal. You can see which interface it will be, what the local network IP will be. If you have a different URL for the captive portal, it will appear here. For example, if you are entering a cafe or hotel, you are using it through a hotspot and the login portal is similar. It requires a back-end login system, a radius server. Those who understand networking well, or those who want to do something like this, can create a hotspot system through this router as well. Next is a firewall system. You can turn on all DDoS protection here. There is an SPI firewall and a respond to ping option. You can find these options here as well. Next is MAC filter. For those who want to keep the router open and only want to provide access to specific devices, they can do so through this MAC filter option. If you want to provide internet service to someone and disconnect someone else, they can do that. Then there is IP filter. If you want, you can prevent specific IPs from being used on your router or restrict someone from using it. For example, if you don't want to use Facebook on your network, you can just put the Facebook IP address here and the subnet mask. Then they won't be able to use those IPs anymore. Okay, next, I'm going to domain filter. In the domain filter, if you don't want to use a specific domain, you can just type it in. For example, if you don't want to use YouTube, just type YouTube here, and no one will be able to use YouTube. Next, we move on to IP and MAC binding. If you want a specific IP to be reserved for a specific MAC address, you can do it through this IP and MAC binding. Okay, next we have WPS. WPS is a system for accessing your router using a specific number. I would recommend keeping WPS turned off, as various software can use WPS to hack the router, which can sometimes lead to a hanging. Wi-Fi schedule. Through the schedule, if you have an office router and you want to turn it off on specific days and have it turn itself back on at a set time, you can enable the schedule here. Once enabled, the router will automatically turn on and off at the specified times. Okay, next, if we go to backup and restore, we can generate a backup of our router settings from here. If for any reason the router settings get messed up, we can restore them to get our settings back without any hassle. There is no need to manually reconfigure every option. The settings will return exactly as they were. Now, for local management, if you want specific devices to be able to access the router's control panel, you can add them here. For remote management, if you want someone outside your network to be able to access your router, you can set it to any device or specified devices. Through these options, you can enable access control for the router's control panel. Admin account. From here, you can change the login password for the admin account. As you can see, you need to enter the old password, followed by a new password and a confirmation of the new password to change the account's login credentials. Okay, next is language. There is a huge range of language options available here. You can even switch the language to Bengali, among many other languages available. Timed reboot. This is an automatic time-based reboot feature. I usually use this by setting it to every day, and then you can choose a time, for example, for AM, when you don't typically use the router. It will then automatically reboot once at that time every day. If you want to reboot the router manually, you can easily do so using this option. The next option is reset. If you want to factory reset the router, you can easily do so using this option. Next is LED control. If you want to turn off the router's LEDs after a certain time, you can do so here, and they will turn off at the specified time. Next is TR069. Through this, you can remotely configure and access the router. This is typically used by the ISP side. Those who work with ISPs can access this, and with this option, they can troubleshoot your router. Today, that is all. I hope I have tried to provide a comprehensive overview and that you have gained a good understanding of this router. Finally, we have diagnostic tools. From here, you can see the router's diagnostic tools. Clicking Go will allow you to see detailed information about your router and if there are any issues. You can also get a good idea about your internet connection, ping, and overall network status. Coming to ping, you can check your ping here. You can select which port you want to check the ping from. Next is the Traceroute option, which is usually seen in professional routers. And the NSLookup option is also typically available in professional routers. System log. You can see the logs here, and if you want, you can clear them or download them using the download option. That is all for today. Allah Hafiz. Goodbye. Stay well.